If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you about it. It's free, which is amazing. And there are these really cool creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it's easy to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. And you get to make money with no minimum listenership, which is really cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started right away. Wellnesspreneurs, are you ready to stop side hustling and start making an income doing what you love? It's time to pull up a seat and align your third eye on the prize. Each week, we will have conversations with successful creatives in wellness, business, marketing, and more to uncover practical methods to take you from A to B. My name is Jessica Cross, and I am so excited to link arms with you and get started. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back. I am really excited today to share this incredible chat I had with Jackie Cawthon. Jackie is a 500-hour yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, mom, wife, and a human, and a beautiful one at that. You're going to love her. She's also a photographer and is so generous with her tips and tricks in preparing for a photography session. So if you're interested at all about learning about this incredible human and her offerings and how she can help you feel so comfortable in your skin when you're doing a shoot for your business, take a listen. Hey, Jackie, how are you?
Oh my God, I'm so good. So excited to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Jessica. Just, yeah, excited to talk to you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, yes. I thank you for being open to this. I know it can be a little unnerving.
Yes.
I know we were talking in previous conversations where it's like, you just kind of get nervous and you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's like, what's my name? I don't even know.
I know what is yoga?
Yeah.
So we're just in it together. But thank you for being open to this. And I know everyone's gonna love your story and resonate so much with everything that you have to say.
Well, thank you.
With that, yeah. So why don't we start at the top? Let's start at the beginning. Like, tell me a little bit about you and, how this brings you into your yoga journey.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such a good question. Yeah, it's hard to know where to begin. It's, just to sum up my journey in a few words, because I feel like I've kind of been all over the place. But I feel like in the last 5 to 10 years, I've really found myself, and yoga has been such a big part of that. And I have, oh my gosh, just met the most incredible people because of yoga. It's like, when you meet people who are like-minded in such an important way, it's just incredible what a community can do for you. I just am constantly inspired by people like you and so many mutual friends that we have and other yogis. It's just such a great place to be where people are uplifting each other. And I'm going on a tangent about yoga already, but so obviously that's a big part of my journey. And so many of the people from the yoga community have just given me a platform and this space to learn and grow and go on my journey. Like, I am a mom now. I have an almost 2-year-old. So that's played it's a big part of my journey. It's a lot of changes. And oh man, I was a server and a bartender for most of my younger years. And I was really active and busy, and then graduated college and then went into my first desk job. And that's where I wasn't forced to be active for my career. And that's when things kind of started slowing down for me. And I realized that I had been kind of repressing a lot of stuff that I've been through in my life. And I thought, I always thought that was the healthy thing to do. And because I was forced into that slow moving pace and stillness, yeah, I was faced with a lot of stuff. And that's kind of what brought me to yoga. And yeah, it's been quite a journey since.
Yeah, I can so relate to what you had to say about, you know, when you slow down, that's when the stuff is presented in all its glory.
All its glory.
Yeah, it's I think many of us can relate. I'm sure people that are listening to can relate to that too. So you're at your desk job, you're like, hi, I need some tools for this stuff, and you found yoga. Did you step into a studio, or did you find a private instructor, or how did all that go for you?
Oh yeah. So because I wasn't active anymore, forced to be active, I started feeling a lot of pain in my body, a lot of tension, tightness, and just didn't feel good. And I'd been active my whole life up until that point. And I never really liked with lifting weights. I'm not a runner. I'm not a big like workout person. And one of my friends brought me to a yoga class, and I loved the kind of slower pace and that you had to be so focused on tiny parts of your body and you had to be really present. And that was something that I wasn't spending any time being present. And yeah, I fell in love with the physical aspect of yoga first. I just got hungry and felt so good when I was pouring sweat at the end of class and moved my body. And then I got really addicted to it when I started noticing the mental and emotional benefits of yoga. And it actually brought up, past traumas. I realized that I'd had anxiety my whole life, depression. So it's kind of like I had to dig through a lot of crap um, with the yoga process, but it was so powerful and healing going through this thing that was supposed to just be something to move my body, something to stretch my body and get it stronger. And it turned into just totally changing my life, transforming my life. I wouldn't be where I am today without it. And I'm pretty positive I wouldn't be nearly as happy as I am today.
Oh,
So
I
I'm
feel
very
us.
thankful for yoga.
Yeah, yes, I feel that so much. Oh my gosh. So you're reaping the benefits of the practice, and, you know, in all its forms, the physical, the mental, the emotional,
Yes.
and, you know, like feeling filled up in that way. And I would love to know what brought you to teach. What kind of
Mm,
brought you to that doorway?
yeah. Awesome. I was actually only a yogi. I practiced yoga for a year, maybe 2 years. So I was still really fresh. I didn't really know alignment that well. But what I did know is that it made me feel so good in my own skin, which at the time was really rare for me. And I was like, I want everyone to experience this. I want everyone to feel good in their bodies and just work through stuff that is like really weighing on them that they may not even know about. So I was just like, you know what? Even though I'm not a pro at this, I want to do my part. And so I just like dove in and signed up for my 200-hour training. I just went for it, and I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know. The listeners probably can't see, but you're just radiating as you're talking about it. Like, that experience I'm so glad you leaned into it, because it was clearly
Mhm.
like what was meant for you. It's so
Totally.
clear. Yeah.
And it was so scary. I definitely questioned it because of the price. It's not cheap, as it shouldn't be. I mean, you're learning a lot of really important information, but it is scary diving into something, especially that you don't know that much about. But it was, yeah, that passion for, I want to help other people that like really drove me to it. So
Yeah.
anybody out there that's like, if you even have that spark to teach yoga, like I go for it. I mean, I'm a little biased, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I second that. I absolutely second
Hmm.
that for sure. It's life changing and in a lot of ways. So you graduated a few years ago. You've been teaching, and now you have your 500-hour, and you're teaching and teacher trainings now. So how is that all going? How is it affecting your life, and how has it been impacting other people's lives with this practice?
Oh my gosh, as soon as you said impacting other people's lives, like my eyes started watering. And I'm gonna cry on this podcast because like oh, I did not expect to cry on this one. But it's just so powerful. It it's like this in life is to, oh wow, yep, you're
Let it
getting me
flow, girl.
emotional. um, yeah, I just want to make the world a better place, and the world is a better place when people are happy and connected to others and connected to themselves, and um, yeah, it just is so fulfilling. And I actually, before the pandemic, was considering going full time because I've had a desk job since I started teaching yoga. Um, and it's really hard to balance a job and yoga because, as fulfilling as it is, it still takes a lot of energy to hold space for other people and to be around that much energy. And I was kind of burning myself out teaching 15, 20 classes a week on top of a full-time job, on top of being very pregnant for a while there. And yeah, it kind of taught me where to put my energy. And it's really hard taking things off of your plate when you want everything that's on your plate on it. It's really sad taking stuff off. So that alone has been quite a journey.
Yeah, well, first of all, 15, 20 classes like made my stomach hurt a little bit.
Oh, bad idea.
And but I think it's so relatable because we're fresh out of training or, a couple years out and you're like, I'm loving this. I just, want to feel this way all the time. I want to make those connections that I'm making in my community on a daily basis and that to be my life's work. And it's so commendable that you not only taught 15 to 20 classes, but you're also working full time while being pregnant. Like it's great. It's insane. Like when you just say it, because it's like it's amazing and exhausting, as you said, to have so
Yeah.
many wonderful things on your plate that fill you up, and you have to make tough decisions.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure if this is true for you. I know it definitely is for me. When the pandemic hit, it was kind of a reckoning for my schedule. And, it sounds like maybe it was a little bit for you too.
Yeah. In a way, I am, I'm definitely not grateful for the pandemic, but I'm grateful for the lessons that came with it. Because yeah, I mean, what you were saying, I think it's a very common thing in the yoga community is that we're all hustlers and we're driven by this just love of helping others and being there for other people. And I realized that I was putting everyone else's needs in front of my own, which is kind of a common thing for my life in general. And so the pandemic made me realize I need to take a step back and take care of myself. And yeah, I really put things into perspective. When they closed all the yoga studios, I was actually at one of the studios I used to teach at when we got an email that said there are no more classes for the rest of the day and for a while. We'll keep you updated. And I was with one of my friends who, for me, it's not my livelihood. It's such a bonus. I love it. And of course, it's great extra money too. But I was with one of my yoga teacher friends who this is her full-time thing. And she just broke down crying and was like, how am I going to survive? She was barely making ends meet as a yoga teacher without the pandemic. So the first thing that it gave me was, wow, the empathy I felt for other teachers who work their butts off for other people just broke my heart. And another thing that that came up during the pandemic is, you know, when the studios closed, we all were scrambling, like, how do we keep teaching? How do we not go out of business? And Zoom classes and Instagram Live and YouTube Live. You know, we tried all those things. I think you probably did a few of those as well,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what a weird thing to go through, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh man, the technical issues, oh my gosh, the Zoom passwords, there's just so much that we're not used to.
Yeah.
And then those Zoom call or those virtual classes were great that I could keep teaching. But then, you know, people started turning their cameras off. It was not as fulfilling as being in person. And I realized that teaching these classes was no longer serving me. And it was really hard to let go. And I finally decided at one point, pretty early on in the pandemic, that I was going to take a break from teaching. So I went from all of these classes to not teaching anything. And it was one of the hardest things I had to do. And it broke my heart. And yeah, it was really sad. But I'm glad I did it. So I took a long break and then started teaching just a virtual meditation class. And that alone was great because it forced me into something new that I hadn't, that I'd always wanted to do, was teach only meditation. And yeah, so I got that opportunity and I love it. It's been amazing. It's been like about a year now of that meditation class. And yeah, I love it.
Oh, your
It's a long
story.
answer.
No, it is so good, but it's so good. Like it's all necessary. It's not long at all. It's all a part of the puzzle. Wow. When you were talking about sitting with your friend, your colleague, who is a full-time teacher, and you both receiving that message and how it landed, heavy for you both, but in different ways, of course. Like,
yes.
It's so, it was for me too, and more so for your friend. It sounds like it was one of those times when you realize just how quickly it can all be gone. Everything.
So quickly. Yes, without any warning.
Without any, exactly. It can be gone in a poof. And like you said, it's, you know, I'm not grateful for the pandemic, but the lessons and the how close can I get to those lessons, you know, where you really can't fill your schedule with sitting in traffic for an hour each way going to class. You can't fill it with the things that you normally would, and you're in that space where you're like, okay, I have to see this right now.
Yep.
And
100%.
Yeah, like that. I think so many of us, you know, whether we were teaching or in, you know, in other professions at that time, or, you know, whatever it is we were doing, we're like, okay, I got to sit and be with my staff.
Yes. And you are forced to it. There is no running from that stuff.
No, there's nowhere to run. Yeah, it's so relatable. And, but on the other side is so much, because we were forced to listen and take a good look at the things that we were filling our time with. And, you know, is that the right thing for us? And, you know, it's a quandary. And I think many of us had to do that. So I just want to say thanks for sharing, you know, with an open heart of your, you know, having to look at the thing that you love so much, and, you know, having to just say, you know what, now's the time to take a break. And that's very brave.
Thank you.
Commendable. Yeah. Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Yeah. it really did make a lot of us look at what we value in life and then reprioritize those values because a lot of us were in survival mode. So you don't get it all when you're in survivor mode. So yeah, everyone who has made it through this pandemic is a hero.
It's so true. It's so true. I giggled, but it's like,
Yeah,
it's like so funny that it's true, or, it's like we have been through so much, and it's
so much.
easy to set it to the side and discount it in a way as things are, reopening, and we're going to whatever normal is, quote unquote, again. With just the collective trauma really that we've all been through, and
Totally.
to remember, like, we've been through a lot. Like, give yourself a little bit of a break. Like, you're doing awesome. We're still here.
Yes, that's so right. Yes, we need to give ourselves more credit than
Yes,
we typically do.
I totally agree. Well, I love that there's this small gift that was given to you during that crazy time of this meditation class that you were, kind of had, on in the future plan, and it was just kind of brought to you. So it's a part of your every week. It's something you've been doing for a year, which I love. I bet that community is just growing and flourishing, and something you look forward to every
Yes.
week. Yeah, that's so awesome. I wonder too, so you also have this other amazing thing that we haven't even talked about yet. I'm always wondering, like, how do you have time to do all this? You have this
I'm exhausted all the time.
I'm with you. We're the same. I get
We're
you.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah, you have this amazing photography business too. How did you get into photography?
Thank you for saying that it's amazing. I really appreciate that.
It is.
Yeah, I was texting you and Julie at the same time the other night about the photos, and oh my gosh, y'all's just sweet. Your kind words just made me remember that my photos are good enough, because that's something that I struggle with I'm not seasoned photographer. I'm I've been doing it a few years, I guess. But I never give myself the credit I deserve. So yeah, it's nice to hear other people say that they like my work. But yeah, how I got into it, I've always loved taking photos. Just I love the creative aspect behind it, how you can change a perspective, and just get a whole new view of the world. And as I've grown, I've begun to appreciate the memories that come with the photos that you can look at. I just am always so happy to look at old photos. I love the memories that they capture. And so I kind of toyed with it throughout my life, and nothing really stuck. I just kind of did it here and there. But when I was doing yoga, or actually I think it started when I was teaching, and I remember looking around at the room and just being so moved by all of the students, and just how beautiful they looked physically, but also just the energy in that room, like people like closing their eyes and being with themselves. And just, I wanted to capture that beauty. And so I just started taking photos of other friends that are yogis. Actually, first I didn't have that many yogi friends, so I forced some of my friends that don't do yoga to take yoga photos, and bless them for putting up with me.
I love that.
Yeah. But then as my yoga community grew, I started taking photos of fellow yogis, and was just so inspired by how different everyone's practice looked physically. And I just I'm so inspired by the unique beauty that each person has. And my inspiration continued as I took more photos. And I just really appreciate any photographers who make me feel comfortable, because I've had a few forced photography sessions where I'm the subject, and I love being on the other side of the camera more. And Now, some of them, I've had some great photographers and I've had some not so great. And something that really stuck out for me is making people feel comfortable in their own skin, or not making them, but helping create a safe space. And I want people to have photos of themselves because it's so important to look back and remember those times, and for people to really appreciate their beauty, um, no matter what their yoga poses look like. So, yeah, and it's just like the coolest experience to be part of a photo shoot with somebody and seeing just, yeah, just all hints of them come up. So yeah, I was taking photos for friends, and then I took some photos for managers at another yoga studio that I worked with, and like realized like, oh, I can make money on this too. And the studio that I'm at now, Soul Strong, love, shout out Soul Strong. The owners gave me such a great opportunity to photograph new teachers and their current teachers. And um, yeah, now I have kind of this legit business, and just like, it doesn't even feel like work. It takes a long time to edit photos, but man, it's just so rewarding.
I love that so much. So there's so many pieces and parts that I love of your photography business story and its genesis. And a couple of things that stick out is you didn't wait for permission for someone to say, "Hey, Jackie, you should start a photography business."
Yes.
You're like, "Hey, friend who's not a yogi, could you take some photos with me?" And you started. You just felt something that was true to you and what you wanted to bring into the world. And really, part of it was the sheer magic that you wanted other people to witness the unique beauty of other humans. And you leaned into that, and I love it. There is so
Thank
much to
you.
learn. Yes, and there's so much to learn from that experience. I think for folks that are listening is, if you feel that call, lean
Do
into it.
it.
Do it.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's nothing to lose. I had,
exactly.
I kept telling myself, appreciate everything, expect nothing. Like, just appreciate all of the joys that you get out of it and expect nothing in return. And I think that really helped keep me going, because it is hard. You want, when you're doing photos or doing any service for people, you want them to enjoy it. And sometimes it's really easy to base your own, maybe not worth, but how good you are at that service, or product, based on what other people say. And that's a scary thing, really scary. So just leaning in, but also knowing that you are good enough, no matter what the outcome is.
That is amazing advice. That is such good advice for, anyone who's listening and wanting to start a business. Like, just, lean into it. Just like you said, that's so good. That is so good.
Thanks.
And I'm a personal recipient of your magic, and I love your work, and I just want everybody to go and check you out. We'll share your links, of course, at the end. But you're a natural talent. Like, it's so good, and that I wouldn't have my Instagram profile pic if I didn't have the photo that you took of me. And if you look back at all that, and you just decided. So those little ripple effects that come out from you deciding, it's incredible.
Well, thank you. I mean, that means so much just in general, but coming from you too. And like, when you just said that like, it's your profile picture, can you imagine like several years ago when we hadn't even met in person? Like, I would have never guessed that. And that is just, it gives me chills. It's just so cool.
That is such a good story too. Like, and you're right. I didn't even put that together until you just said that. But for everybody who's listening, it's like Jackie and I are friends. We were friends online first. Like we
Yes,
followed each other, and I think we chatted it up in the DMs, and then suddenly we were in the same studio. We're like, it's you.
I know you. And it was the coolest thing ever. Yes, I'm so thankful for it.
Me too. Me too. Those are the best kind of stories and the best kind of friendships because you
Yes.
it's so serendipitous that you just know that that was supposed to happen.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I got chills again.
So we've laughed, we've cried, we've gotten chills. Like this is such a good episode.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about loving being behind the camera, and you've been on the other side too, so you have some experience. I'm
Mhm.
wondering for folks that are listening, if you have any tips for someone who's preparing for a photo shoot for their business.
That's a really good question. Um, so, oh man, there's a lot of things that I could say for this, but I think one of the big things for me is being comfortable in an outfit. So, I've had time I'm like, I feel like good in this outfit, but then I get my photo taken. I'm like, oh God, what that is very different than what looked like in the mirror. So I think one of the things I would say is if you one, plan ahead, pick an outfit out that you are comfortable in, and then if you really want to go that far to maybe take a couple photos of yourself in that outfit to be like, is this coming across how I wanted it to? Especially if you're doing yoga photos, um, having a tighter shirt under a looser shirt in case you do any inversions um, or a sports bra or something. Um, and I'd also say if you're going to be in front of the camera, um, maybe just take some time to look in the mirror because that alone can be a hard thing to do. Um, and just getting comfortable with being in your own skin and being yourself. And if you want to bring props, like I know how I don't know what to do with my hands. So if you can find something to do with your hands, get a coffee cup, get yoga blocks, sit behind a desk, depending on what your photo is going to be. But if you can find props, that makes me feel a lot more comfortable, and I know has helped other people. Yeah, did that answer the question?
It did. It did. And I'm giggling because I'm thinking of the photo shoots that I've done and I was like, man, I should have done that ahead of time. That's such a great idea.
You have learned along the way.
Yes. Yes. And it doesn't have to be a full 8 hours of your day planning for your photo shoot. It's just, 30 minutes of, some intentional time of like, let's grab a couple of tops, take a photo with my phone. Do I like this? Yes or no? And, adjusting from there. And
Absolutely.
funny story too, because when I was with you a couple of weeks ago shooting, and I was like, I really like a lifestyle photo. And I didn't have any props for that. And you just handed me your coffee cup and you're like, move over here. And you take the picture. And it's like the best picture. It's so good.
I love it. It turned out so good.
It did. So
I'm
just
like, I need to bring a coffee cup every photo shoot just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. And if, it could be an empty coffee cup too, for like, if you guys are shooting at, at 7 p.m., like no one needs to know what's in that coffee cup, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a purse. I don't know. You could be holding all sorts of things to just make you feel less stiff. And what do I do with my hands?
Yeah. It's funny the things that we do too, and we don't know what to do, and that doesn't
Yes,
always translate super well on the camera.
absolutely.
Yeah, those are really good tips. Thank you.
Thanks.
And yeah, of course. And you have such interesting experience, like, working a day job, working in studios, and owning your own photography business. So I'm so curious to know if you have any insights or tips that if you knew back when you were starting would save
Mm.
you some time, maybe a few headaches, a sleepless night or two, that could help somebody who's listening? And it can be from any lens.
Oh, wow. Oh, there's probably so much that would have been really helpful to me. Um, I will say one thing that comes to mind immediately is really checking in with understanding your worth from the beginning, because that's something that I struggled with was, oh, I'm new. I need to not charge anyone. I need to build a portfolio before I charge anyone. And then charging what you're worth. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights and frustrations I've had with myself for just giving my services away at a high cost, and it actually costing me time, energy, stress, um, probably other things. I don't know. But yeah, something that I would have done before is check in with myself. What do I want to get out of this shoot? Or what do I want to get out of this service? Is it worth it to do it for free? Am I going to get out what I need? And then if the answer is no, figure out how much I need for it. Because before I was just giving things away and like, oh, you're a friend. So let's do, oh, I know you, discount. um, so yeah, charge people. And if they don't want to pay, then you're going to find somebody who will pay. I still struggle with this. But yes, if you are spending your time and energy on something, whether it be something you love or not, you've got to charge people for it.
Ooh, yes. Like if you could see me on camera, I'm throwing my hands up in the air because that's something I work with too. And I think it's something that we all do, especially as
Yes,
women. This,
we're caregivers.
yeah, people pleasing tendencies, like it's so common and so relatable and so generous of you to share that because I think it's a big practice for us all is understanding our worth, and especially when we feel like, oh well, I don't think I should charge that much, like they can't afford it, or
Hmm.
whatever the story is.
There's
There's a
always a
million of them.
story.
There is. Exactly. And just charging what you're worth, and being okay with that.
Yes. And it's okay to change your mind. That's the other thing that popped up with me. Like you change your prices. I mean, even if you've been seasoned, actually, if you've been seasoned, like you definitely should change your prices. Just slowly creep them up. Or if you realize nobody's doing it, like, will it be worth it for you to lower your prices? Just not being fixed. Like it's be flexible.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much power in knowing that you can change your mind.
Yes. It's less scary. It's
It
not like
is.
nothing's permanent.
Yeah. Yeah. You can try stuff in your business and see what sticks. And if it doesn't stick, it's okay.
Yes. I think that's another, like, that's such a good piece of advice for when you're starting out. Cause I definitely was like, oh my gosh, if I set these prices, these are my forever prices. No, they could be your price for today and not tomorrow.
Oh, yes. That's so good. That is so, so good. Yeah. Really, really generous. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I feel that so much too in my business. I think it's something we're always working with.
Especially when we're in this business of wanting to help others. It's hard to be like, pay me for helping you. But I mean, that's how therapists charge, doctors charge for helping you. We have bills to pay, unfortunately. So yeah, just we've got to charge.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. We have to, and there's there's so much power in having people pay for your service because they then value it enough to show up in a full
Yes.
way. And,
It's an
you know,
exchange.
it is. Yeah, 100%. I was thinking that when you were, talking about being able to charge your worth, I was thinking about this, this quote, I think, and I wish I could remember who said it. And if I can, I will bring it, I will say who it is, but it's like the yoga is free. The electricity is not.
Yes, absolutely.
Wish it were not the case, but
Yeah, I'd love to give out yoga for free. That would be great, but that's just not the world that we're in.
it's not, unfortunately. So,
And it takes a lot of time and energy to create our services. And I think for any non-yogis, it's easy to see, oh, we're just here for an hour, however long the class is. But we put time in practicing, I don't know how to say it, but playing the singing bowls, creating playlists, creating a sequence, and there's just so much stuff that goes into it. Like so much of our heart and our energy that we put into our services, and they just go unseen. So it's easy to not understand the value, or some people not understand the value.
yeah, that's such a good point. And all the training that you took,
Oh,
like that.
thousands of dollars of training.
Oh, yes. Yes. And all the time that you invested in, being able to deliver a safe, clear, exciting experience for people. It doesn't just magically, arrive. Like there's so much into it, as you said, that's way beyond that 1 hour. So
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
that's really good advice. So much unseen stuff that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing advice. I know, like, I learned stuff too, and so just thank you for sharing that with us. And I know people that listening, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, like I struggle with that too. And that's such good advice. So thank you.
Yay, you're so welcome. I'm excited to be, people pleaser in me. I'm like, I'm helpful. Yay.
Yeah, me too. Same. Oh, that's so funny. So where can we find all the magical things that you're doing out in the world?
Yes. So right now, that hopefully will change soon. But right now I do have an Instagram called Love It All Yoga. And as well as an email, loveitallyoga@gmail.com. And I have a very fresh website that can be found in my bio of my Instagram. So I am working actually on a name change. And I have no idea what it's going to be yet. So yeah, if you can't find that name, I'll have to add a link or anything or something to it. But yeah, that's where you can find me right now. And you can check out my work and book a session.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. If you're in the Central Texas area, you have to book with Jackie. She is the queen of making you feel comfortable and holding space for you. Like if you're feeling awkward, like I feel like I'm awkward in front of the camera all the time. And it's just so easy to shoot with you. Like you just make it fun and lighthearted and just takes so much of the pressure off. So I highly recommend anybody who's nearby to definitely shoot with you. And then if and when you do change your business name, it's no problem because we'd be happy to share that link and point people over to you and all of your amazing stuff. So that's no problem. And speaking of being able to change your mind, you can also change your business name, right?
Yes,
So
exactly. And something again that I was like, oh, you know what? I'm stuck with this name forever. But no, you're not. Get a new domain, change some
Done.
things. It'll all be okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're just showing it in the practice. Like that's how it works. So good.
Yes.
So good.
Yes. And one more thing I forgot to bring up, but is something I also love to do is you can book through my Instagram too. But yoga and mimosa events, bachelorette parties. I taught a yoga class before somebody got married. It was, those are just such fun events for me. So if you know anyone, I know a lot of people like to get married in Austin or Lake Travis or those areas. I can bring mimosas. So.
And the amazing yoga too. Yes.
And all the yoga. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. That's perfect. And that's a whole nother part of your business we didn't even get to. So we're gonna have you back and you can talk a little bit more about that.
I forgot about it. So great.
Well, thank you so much for your beautiful heart and everything that you bring into this world. And you're just so genuine and kind and sweet. And I knew when I was hitting you up in the DMs at one point several years ago that we were going to be friends, and here we are. So I just want to say thanks.
Thank you. All your kind words. I appreciate being here. I appreciate being in your life. And yeah, I will never forget when we first connected on Instagram. I was like, I love her already. And when I met you in person, I just, like, she's even better in person. So thank you for being you and for having such a beautiful podcast and it's just a beautiful presence in life.
You're amazing. Speaking of crying.
Yeah, you need some tears. I shed some.
My turn. Okay. Well, I'll see you soon. And I'm so excited to share this episode with everybody. Thanks again.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Third Eye on the Prize. Got an idea or something to share with Jessica? DM her on Instagram at jessicacross.co and let her know what's on your mind. We're so grateful for your support, especially as a small woman-led business. Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.